Hello everybody, this is a preview video of the Heads Up Hyper class. This is a hand example against a regular that I've played a lot of times in the past. The most important about this regular is that if I min raise, that he will re-raise all in with basically every ace, every pair, and also with almost all the suited connectors, what most regulars do, because they know they don't play that well out of position and they want to push a couple of hands that are profitable to push. Also because that is a good strategy against a guy that's min raising a lot of hands, and I'm probably min raising against this guy around 70% out of the small blind. I min raise ace 4 and he's calling, so immediately I think like he probably doesn't have an ace in his hand, he doesn't have a pair, he doesn't have suited connectors, so he will have a lot of kings in his calling range. I think he will call definitely with like king 4, but he will also call with hands like king jack and king queen, because he hopes that he hits his top pair, and he hopes that I hit some kind of hand and then he can win like a very big pot. A lot of regulars use that strategy. So the other player, he might have a calling range of like 30%, maybe a little bit more, and there are like 7 or 8% kings in that range, so it's like 1 in 4 times he will have a king. The villain checks. This is a pretty good flop. I don't expect him to have any deuces in his calling range. He will probably push hands like ace deuce, and maybe he will push king deuce suited. Probably he will. And hands like queen deuce suited, maybe like jack deuce suited, he will probably fold to a min raise. It's possible that he calls with queen deuce suited, but it's only one combination, so it's a very small chance. He could have a 5, but I don't think he has too many 5s in his calling range either. Hands like 6-5 and 7-5 he will probably fold, unless they're suited, but then he's probably going to push those hands. So he could have queen 5, but I'm not sure that he's going to call that hand, and he could have king 5. I'm pretty sure that he's going to call that hand. So maybe king 5, maybe queen 5. They're like 2 combinations. Each combination is like 1.2%, so it's 2.4%, but that's only if he has a calling range of like 100%. But he has a calling range of like 30%, 35%. So it's a much bigger chance he has a hand like king 5 or queen 5. Because if he has a calling range of 100% is 2.4%. So if he has a calling range, say like 50%, the chance is 2 times as big. So it's not 2.4, but it's 4.8%. But he has even like a smaller calling range of say like 33%. So 3 times 2.4%. It's 7.2% actually that he has like a king 5 or a queen 5 in his hand. There's also a chance that he picks up a flush draw. The chance that he starts with a suited hand is like 30%, but then we're talking about like 2 hearts, 2 spades, 2 clubs or 2 diamonds. They're four different colors, so it's not 30%. But 25% of that 30%, so that's actually like 7.5% that he has 2 hearts in his hand. But again, that is if he has like a calling range of 100%. But a lot of suited combinations he will push, so you would think like, okay, the chance is a little bit smaller, but he might call also more hands like queen 4 suited, queen 5 suited. He might not call those hands like offsuit. So maybe the chance is like 7 or 8%. So we had like an argument that he would push more suited hands, but also if he has like a little bit weaker hand, like a jack 5 or a jack 6, maybe he's going to call that suited and he's probably going to fold it offsuit. So I think the chance that he has a 5 is around like 7%, but the chance that he has a flush draw is also 7%. So I'm going to bet because I want value of hands like king high. And as we said like in the beginning, 1 out of 4 times he will have a king high hand, and I think if he has king high, he will definitely call, because he's aware of that I'm almost always c-bet in this spot. So if I'm going to c-bet almost all the time, then a lot of times king high is the best hand, and I make a pretty small c-bet, and he will think, okay, if I hit my hand, then I could win like a very big pot, because he's not representing too much if he's calling, because he will probably raise if he has a 5. He probably doesn't have a deuce, he will raise also with a flush draw. So if he's calling, then he probably has some king high and a hand like queen 10 or something like that. So he calls. Then the turn comes an 8 and he checks. He could have a hand like king 8 or queen 8, that's possible. But I think he would fold a lot of times like jack 8 on the flop or a hand like 10 8. So it's more likely he has a hand like queen 10 or jack 10. He would probably call with those hands. And I think it's very unlikely he has like a king 8 hand. So I think like, okay, what can I do? What are my options? I can make a big bet or I can check. But if he has an 8, it's better to check. If he has like a king deuce suited, what's very unlikely that he has that hand, it's better to check. Almost all the time it's better to check, because I don't give him like too many outs. If he has a hand like king 7, then he has 6 outs. Each out is like 2%. So I give him 12% to hit his hand, and if I check, a lot of players will bluff the river. Or if they check the river, I can bet for value, and because I check the turn, it looks like I have a weak hand. So I think it's better to check, just because I don't give him like too many outs. And he checks again. I think if he had an 8, he will bet here, because he's not representing too much, and it's a big chance that I will call here with like an ace high hand or even a king high hand, because he could easily have missed like a hand like queen 10 or something. So I'm like 90% sure that he will bet here like an 8. So pretty much he has nothing. The best hand he could have is actually king queen or king jack, so I should bet here to get value of those hands. But also he might push if I bet, because I'm not representing like too much. So why would I check a 5? Why would I check an 8 on the turn? He probably thinks that I don't have too much, so he might decide to push all in. And I bet, and he folded.